Let's check out practice test number 2 for pre-algebra. What we're going to do is some of the expressions below are like terms. Some of these expressions are like terms, okay? Some are not, and we're going to write their letters in the boxes. We're going to write their letters in the boxes. So in class, I gave a hint. There are 7 that go here. So why I'm giving you a hint at all is maybe you haven't done this yet, and maybe you should put in the thought yourself first. So if you want, pause it, try and run through these, mentally go through it, whatever. And ready? Here we go. First things first, let's look at A. A are not like terms. I'm going to go through and explain every single one of these. This is like 3 boxes of, let's say, bananas, and this is 3 boxes of apples. So the one thing that you might think is, well, yeah, they both have a 3, so I can go ahead and add these, and I would get 6xy. But you can't do that. This would mean like you have 6 boxes of banana apples, and that's just not what's going on. Like maybe in English class you could say that, yes, we have 6 boxes of fruit, but does this letter stand for fruit? Does that letter stand for fruit? No, those letters don't stand for fruit. They stand for apples and bananas. So these are not like terms. Next, B is y plus 4. This is a box of I don't know how much. And let's say it's a box of, well, you know what, let's go with monkeys this time. It's a box of I don't know how many monkeys. But, so I guess maybe I'll put monkeys, the S in parentheses. But this is actually 4 monkeys right here. So, all right, if I have some amount of monkeys in the box plus 4, how many total monkeys do I have? The answer is I have no clue, because we don't know how many is in here, right? It could be 100, it could be 2, it could be 0, it could be 1,000. So it would change all of our answers. So that's why we say B, that is also not like terms, okay? C, 4x plus negative 2x squared. This is like saying I have a box of cereal, and this is like having x times x boxes of cereal. So to put it in like real terms, so to speak, this is no longer a box of cereal. This is a pallet of cereal. And if you're like, I don't know what the difference between a pallet and a box is. So when you go to Walmart, you buy a box of cereal, right? And in the back, they have boxes of cereal. But they have them on, let's see how many times I can duplicate this. There's a bunch. But they have them on what is called pallets, so that they are stacked this many by this many. I mean, you probably get the idea that there is just tons and tons of cereal. Let's duplicate a couple more. Duplicate. Okay, so they're that tall, but hang on. They also go deep. They're stacked deep. I'm not really going to be able to get the 3D effect here, but anyway, there's tons and tons of cereal. So this is x. This is x squared. You might think, well, yeah, I can just throw that in there. But here's the question. How many are in this pallet right here? Do you really know? No, you don't. That's the point. And so if we were to get a little bit crazy with this, by the way, x cubed would be like a whole shipping container of pallets. So it would be like this. Let's grab all of these. And oh, look, we have one. But now, check this out. We've got more, right? Like, it's a shipping container. So in case you're wondering, like, what's he getting at? Remember, here's x, Here's x squared. Here's x cubed. I'm trying to tell you that those can't be like terms because we really don't know how much is in each of them, right? So, long explanation to tell you that C is also not like terms. Okay, now D, y minus 5y. This is our first one where, yes, they are like terms. Yay. Why are they like terms? Because this is saying, listen, you have a box filled with cereal, and then someone's going to remove 5 boxes of cereal. Well, the overall effect is that you will now have -4 boxes of cereal. That's the idea. So D, like terms. And in fact, we're going to go down here and go ahead and write -4y, because what we're also going to do is simplify each expression. And if it's already simplified, we're going to write simplified. You might recall I told you that there are 7 that are not like terms. And essentially, we're going to go ahead and just call those simplified. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to write simplified down over here. And I'm going to copy and paste that in as we need it. Ta-da. So the first 3, technically simplified. Let's look at E. -1/3 minus 7/3. These are like terms. How are they like terms exactly? Well, this is just a number. Like, imagine that I said 2 plus 3. You wouldn't say, oh, those aren't like terms. You would say they're 5, right? So let's not pretend these are numbers. These are numbers. When you have fractions, you have to have a common denominator. And oh, look, we have that. So really, this is like you have been insulted 1 time. You are going to be insulted 7 more times. You are -8/3 insulted. -8/3. And I know there's some crazy kids out there who would like to go ahead and rewrite this as -2 2/3. If you want to do that, go for it. So either that one or that one. And let's go ahead and write that E fits into the like term box. F, 2y minus 5. 2 boxes of I don't know what plus 5, not like terms. If you're like, well, what's the explanation? We don't know how much is inside of this, so how could we possibly add 5 to it and give you a simple, conclusive answer? We can't. So our answer would have to be 2y plus 5. So by the way, this is one reason why I said technically we're just going to go ahead and call those simplified, even though in theory we could simplify that one a little bit further. But for now, we're just going to call it simplified. G, did we write this down? We did. F is up there. G, 2 plus -3. That's -1, y'all. If I have $2 and try and spend 3, I will have -$1 at the end of the day. H, I have 3 identical bags of something, and I'm going to remove a negative bag of it. Then I will have 4 bags. That's a weird way to say this. So really, I just want you to think of 3 minus -1, which would be 3 plus 1, which is 4. But we did talk about this being like, hey, if you're going to remove negative feelings, then that would be positive, right? So let's go ahead and say that H are like terms and throw our answer down here, 4x. I, -4.8 minus 3.8. You have lost $4.80. You lose another $3.80. You have lost $8.60. So -8.6. Those are definitely like terms. J, I'm hoping that you're starting to get the hang of this by now. X plus 4, not like terms. There's J. Let's talk about K. 5 over 9x or 5/9 x plus 10x. I tried to kind of trick you on this one, but these are like terms. These are like terms. So now just imagine that we were describing, hey, listen, I have a fraction of a box of cereal and then 10 whole boxes of cereal. Well, when you add them together, you would have 10 whole boxes plus that 5/9, just like that. If you're a little on the worried side of like, well, I need to be able to add these as fractions, okay, well, there they are as fractions. You're going to need a common denominator. So we're going to multiply this one by 9/9. We don't need to multiply this one by anything. So we get 5/9 plus 90/9, which is 95/9. And believe it or not, that reduces to 10 5/9. So 10 5/9 or 95/9, either one of those two. And did we put it in the box? We did not put it in the box. K. And then we put J over here. There we go. L. You've lost 60 cents. You gain 70 cents. You have 10 cents. If that doesn't work for you, I mean, again, this is you have lost part of a box of something. You gain more than what you lost. So you're going to have a positive number, and that much is the box still. So L, like terms, and it is 0.1p. M, negative 3x squared plus 6x squared. So you might think, nope, he talked about all that like shipping crate stuff and cereal, and so those aren't the same. But hold up, if we had one pallet plus another pallet, we could say we have 2 pallets, right? Yeah, we could. So check this out. This is saying, hey, listen, you lost 3 pallets, but then you ordered 6 more. So now you have a total of 3 pallets. And if that, again, doesn't work for you, you've been insulted 3 times, but you're about to get 6 compliments. Now you feel positive 3. So let's throw M right here. Let's throw 3x squared right here. And let's go to N. 0.5x minus 1.5x. That's negative 1x or just negative x. Those are definitely like terms. And we'll put in the box. Oh, 3x plus negative 7x. 3x minus 7x is negative 4x. If you want to, you can think of this as I'm feeling 3 positive, but someone is about to, later on, they are going to give me 7 insults. So I will feel negative. So O is a like term, and I will have negative 4x feelings at the end of that. P. I have 2 boxes of something. I'm trying to subtract 6 from it. Can I do that? I don't know. That's why these aren't like terms. So P, not going to work for us. And you might notice I grabbed a simplified for J, so let's put it in there for P. And let's go to Q. Q, 3y squared minus 6y cubed. This is like 3 pallets. And I'm trying to remove 6 shipping containers worth out of that. Can I do that? No, I don't even think I can do that because they're not the same thing. I cannot remove a shipping container out of this. And if you're like, wait, is it a question of whether or not it would be really negative? No, it's a question of I don't know how much this is, so I cannot give you an answer in the end. So that's the answer. And that's why Q is actually our 7th non-like term. So there we go. That means R is definitely like terms, just so you know. And looking at this, you might go, how are those like terms? They don't even look like each other. You're right. They're just 2 fractions adding to each other. So it's 2/3 plus 5/8. Well, we need a common denominator. So I'm going to multiply this by 8 over 8. And I'm going to multiply this one by 3 over 3. And I will end up getting 16/24 plus 15/24, which now that they have a common denominator, we can go straight across to get 31/24, which is a perfectly fine answer, 31/24. But if you want, you can rewrite it as 1 7/24. So either of those answers, and then let's go ahead and put R in our like terms box. So boom, there's the first page. So just like the previous page, I would love for you to actually try some of this on your own. So first thing is, this is Group A. Group A and Group B match each other, okay? I would recommend you try matching those first. And then also, this is 1 through 10. They match these also. I would go there last, okay? And if you're like, I don't quite understand what you mean, well, here's what I mean. So from Group B, that's R. Well, look, R is obviously down here in Group B, and you could write that as like right here in Group B. And then number 2, okay, well, again, that obviously comes from over here. And if that were the one that matched, you would put a 2 there, okay? So now, how could you get started with this? Well, here's what I recommend. Can you simplify the things that are here? And the answer is yeah. We can distribute this 4 here and here, and we get 4x plus 24. So let's go down here and see if we have a 4x plus 24. And yep, it is right there. So I'm actually going to cross off k, because boom, we are done with k. So if you want to, now let's jump over here and start looking for things. But you know what? Hang on. Let's zip back in here and think, is there anything special about this stuff that we could maybe look for some clues over here? And my answer is yeah. I'm thinking right here, this is 4 times all this. So we talked about how that could be like 4 groups, 4 boxes, etc., right? Okay, so there's that. And then, you know, within that 4 groups, we're going to be adding 6 things at some point. We're going to add some things and 6 things. Okay, so that's one way we could approach it. And then the other part is, what if it just asks us to add 24 of things? 24 might stick out over here. And I realize that might feel a little bit like cheating, but that's how kind of matching assignments go, is they're there to help you think a little bit through it, right? Not all the information's necessarily there, but some of it's there. So really, like I said, I'd like for you to like attempt to do some of these on your own before you just jump into the video. So technically, pause it right now if you haven't tried any of these. And here we go. So as I look at this, Hank removes a propane tank. He takes 6 burgers. Well, this is adding 6, so it's not taking 6. You play X matches volleyball. There's 5 aces. Well, I'm getting rid of that because there's not 5 right here. Yeah. Number 3, a basketball team sells 5 group tickets. Again, same thing. Nope. Buddy was seen removing 2 identical bags. Nope, we're not removing 2 things. There's no subtraction at all on ours. Let's see, number 5, Garfield charges $3 per mouse. Nope, again, not what we're looking for. Your coach orders sets of 9 uniforms. Nope. 7, you gain some points in Pac-Man by eating ghosts. Okay, this is the first one that I'm like, it starts with an X. And if you're like, how is that? You gain some points. Here's the question. How many points? I don't know. Plus 6 more points each round. Plus 6 more. Okay. The last thing we need to focus on is you play 4 rounds. This scenario is going to happen 4 times, right? So really we can do this times 4. And that's exactly what we have, is 4x plus 6. So check it out. 7 goes right there. And we are done with 7. Okay. So again, now that I've kind of showed you how, again, maybe now's the time to pause it and try it on your own. If you haven't tried it, pause. Ready? Okay, come back. I can't do the rest right here. I can't do these that I'm looking at right now because this one can't be simplified And I don't think the stories are simple enough that it just says, hey, you got a thing plus some more things. I mean, just looking at them, it's not that simple, right? So clearly, if the purple set, if set A and set B match each other, then what that means is a version that can be simplified down here must turn into that one. So I'm going to kind of go in here and make some notes to myself. Let's change the color here. I'm going to change it to bright pink. Here we go. This one cannot be simplified. Nope, 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 nope. Yes, yes, nope, nope. And if you're like, wait, how do I know it can be simplified or not? By the way, it bugs me that these x's are a different size than the other x's, so I'm going to finish them. Anyway, how do I know? Well, look, can you actually add 11x and 32? No. Can you actually do anything here? Yeah, you can distribute that x to get 5x plus x times y. And we can go down here and look for that. 5x times x times y, that's t. So we can slap a t right there. And in fact, I'm just going to keep going. Right here, I can distribute this -3, -3x, minus 6. So -3x, there it is. -3x minus 6, that's n. So there's n. And then, so like I said, I can't do this one or this one. So I need to go down here and start simplifying. Okay? So L, I can start simplifying. This first part, x minus 3, cannot be simplified. So I'm just going to bring him down. The next part, though, in fact, hang on, let's not bring him down. Let's move over to the right. So that was x minus 3, x minus 3. This 5 can be distributed. It's a positive 5, right? So that becomes 10x. And 5 times 7 is positive 35. How is it positive? Well, because a positive times a positive is positive, right? Okay. We are going to add these together. Why are we adding them? Because like we just did, we said a positive 5 times a positive 2 is going to be positive. So 1x plus 10x's is 11x. -3 plus 35 is positive 32. You know what? This one even looks familiar. It feels familiar because we had an 11x plus 32. So this one is L. Boom. Done with that one. M. Looks like that one can be simplified. I distribute the -2. I get -2x. I distribute the -2. I get -6. Okay. -2x minus 6. There it is. C and M go together. Okay. N, we've already done, so we can't mess with that one again. O, we can distribute this 3, and we get 3x plus 15. O is 3x plus 15. There we go. Cross off O. P, we can distribute the 3, so we get 3x. We can distribute the 3 to get plus 12. We can distribute this -2 to get -2x. We can distribute this -2 to 3 and get -6. These are now written sideways. I wanted to do one vertically right here and then leave one sideways right here to go, all right, here are these two like terms. 3x minus 2x's, that is just x. And then positive 12 minus 6, that's positive 6. X plus 6, x plus 6, x plus 6. Check it out, there's P. This one, B and P go together. So let's cross that one off. Q is not one that's like real complicated to simplify. We're just going to say, hey, listen, if I am subtracting x, that's -x. And if I am subtracting 6, I'm sorry, if I'm subtracting positive 6, that's like just having a negative 6. So negative x minus 6 is the same as q. Negative x minus, oh, I missed it. It's right here. Q, right there. J and Q go together. All right, we got 2 left. So if you're feeling real lazy, I mean, just guess and move on. But don't be real lazy. Come on. Let's do this. 9 and 3x plus 1. 9 times 3x, that's 27x. 9 and 1, that's 9. Plus, well, dude, these aren't even doing anything. They're not in parentheses at all. They're just there. So we can just write them down. So now it's 27 and 4. Well, hang on. That's 31x. Let's just go back up here. We already know there's only one with 31x. So D and R go together. And if you're like, wait a second, that one's just 3x, I want to go ahead and show you this one, okay? Because 5x plus 10, negative 2x minus 10. Check it out. Positive 10 and negative 10 cancel each other out. And then 5 minus 2, that's just 3. So the last one is S. All right, let's start matching these things. So we got x plus 6, which I wasn't feeling too good about that one on there, but that matches with P. So P is down here. And if I'm looking at P, I'm thinking that we got 3 groups of something, and we got like negative 2 groups of something, which if you've been paying attention, that means we're going to gain 3 groups and lose 2 groups. So I'm already looking at this one going, look, I know you don't know which one I'm talking about until I zoom in and point at it. I see 3 identical sheds. If a contractor is building 3 identical sheds, then each shed requires some concrete. So I'm gonna like write out what the heck is happening. 3 identical sheds is like 3 times something, right? Or it could be 3 and there's a group of something. And each shed, by the way, this word each, big stinking deal. If it says each, then that means that we can do something like this. I mean, technically like this too. But anyway, so there's each, right? Each one is going to have some concrete. So, I mean, we call that C, but I made all of these X so that you couldn't just cheat and find, oh, it's the one with C. And 4 walls, so like plus 4 walls. Okay? And then he has a different order. Get canceled. Canceled means you're going to take some things away. It was 2 sheds. So I got to tell you, it's that one. We had an order for 3 sheds. Then we lost 2 sheds. Okay? And if you're like, but hang on, are you sure about that? Here's what I'm sure about. This one took concrete. This one also took concrete. So like they're gonna be the same things. And notice I didn't mix variables. There's no like X's and Y's, right? So actually, is that true to do that? Oh, there is one that has an X and a Y, but we don't gotta worry about that for now. This one is 8. Whoa. Let's zoom in and write that 8. 8. Done. See you later, 8. No, C is negative 2x minus 6, but C also matches with M. Looks like 2 groups, losing 2 groups. So which one's talking about losing 2 groups? Hank removes a tank. Nope, not just one tank. You play X matches. There's a 5 involved, no thanks. 5 again. Buddy is seen removing 2 identical. Here it is. Buddy is seen removing 2 identical bags from your house. That is removing. That's minus 2, y'all. And you later find out that each bag contained some gifts and 3 pounds of chocolate. That's this one. We put a 4 right there. We cross off number 4. And we go to this one. Now, by now, you've looked over this stuff enough to know that none of these say 31 like that says 31, right? So we're going to just ignore this part up here and go straight down to R. Straight down to R down here. I'm going to zoom in. Okay, 9 of something. I think I remember a 9 of something because it was like, coach ordered 9. Yeah, your coach orders 9 sets of uniforms. Each uniform set comes with 3 packages of some shirts plus shorts. Okay. 3 shirts, shorts. And that might be a little confusing because it's 3 shirts plus shorts. But if you look later on, like later she buys another 4 packages of some shirts and then is going to return 3 shorts. So that's like minus 3 shorts, right? And that's what happens right here. So let's see, what number was that? That was number 6. This one was number 6. C, number 6. All right, E goes with O, right? So E goes with O. 3 groups of something going on, right? So let's see. You start the game with some health. Right away, you spend 3 coins. Well, that's minus, and that's not what's going on. Your team loses. That's not what we've got going on. Okay. Garfield charges 3. I'm with that because we had a 3 here. Per $3 per mouse caught and requires 15 lasagnas to show up to your house. So that's actually that right there. Let's see. So if we were to go down to O, O is 3 groups, right? But hang on. It just so happens that this goes with E. And they didn't write it as 3 groups. They said, hey, listen, I've got 3 of those plus 15, plus 15. So we're happy with that. F, 11x plus 32. Again, we've been around long enough to know there's no 11x. There's no 11, no 32. So let's jump down to L. And L is a group of x minus 3 plus 5 groups. Okay, let's check this out. We know it's not Hank. We know it's not volleyball. A basketball team sells 5 groups. Okay, well we got 5 in L, right? So it needs to be 2x plus 7 if it's going to be that one. So, okay, a basketball team sells 5 group tickets. Each group ticket comes with some popcorn and 2 drinks. Hang on, that's not exactly what we have, right? So, really, since we're kind of reading that one, if we can find another 5 group problem, so how about down here? 5 group tickets comes with some popcorn and 2 drinks. So let's see if they're about to remove 2 things. So if we go look at this, later 2 groups cancel. Those 2 groups had some popcorn and 5 drinks. So check that out. 3 goes with S. So find S up here. There's 3 right there. So we went a little bit out of order, but you know what? That's kind of how these matching ones go sometimes. So let's go back to F and L. So L, again, has one with 5 groups. Let's start down here at the bottom now. Okay. You start the game with some health. And right away you spend 3 coins. You know what I didn't focus on? This is subtracting 3. So you start with something, and then you spend 3. So minus 3. When you get the power-up, you spend 3 coins to unlock a power-up. When you get the power-up, it gives you 5 potions. Each of those 5 potions, that's this one right here. So number 9 goes with L right here. We're starting to get down to, let's highlight what we've got left. We've got 10, and 1 and 2. Okay, so not very many. In fact, hang on, let me change that to like green and red. That's what we got left. So next, x times 5 plus y. This thing has 2 unknowns. I don't know how much x is. I don't know how much y is. So let's go up here. Well, this one's kind of sticking out to me. You play X matches of volleyball. So there's X. Each round you have 5 aces and some volleys. That's unknown. That's unknown. I'm pretty sure that's got to be our number 2 here. So number 2, whoops. I wrote it with the highlighter again. Number 2, so we're done with number 2. Let's erase it in such a way that we will know we're done with that one. Okay, since there's 2 left, let's just read what this is. Hank removes a tank of propane from your house. He also takes 6 burgers from the fridge. Let's see. That pretty clearly describes this one right here. That's number 1. Removes some propane, takes 6 burgers. This is that one. So number 1 is crossed off. Obviously, the last one is number 10. Your team loses 3 rounds. Oh, look. You're losing 3 of something. So that one's number 10. Let's see what else it says. You lose 3 rounds, and then each time you lose some points, but you receive 2 perks. I got to tell you, that was like video game logic on my part when I wrote that one. So there you go. There are the 10 answers for that, the backside of the practice test. That's it for everything. Okay, let me know what questions you got. See you later.